Yo, what up, street dogs? Eric Kim. All right, the thought. Why is laziness seen as a vice? And also, why is there this bias that human nature is to be lazy? I would say, on the contrary, I think actually human nature is we actually desire to do shit. We desire to augment our power. We desire to play. We desire to be social and stuff like that. And and if you think about studying the Iliad or whatever, I really do think that actually it is human nature. Like, we desire to conquer, go to war. At least for men, I think there is a desire for competition, manliness, and there's a lot of this desire to become apex male or apex king, kingdoms, stuff. They want to augment their power and stuff like that. And even something that's interesting is that thinking about the pagan form of religion, the way they saw religion was very different than the way we moderns think about it. Is the gods are just kind of always there and they just kind of fuck with humans, they kind of meddle with us. But the thing that was interesting with the gods, and I'm thinking about the Iliad, right, is like humans, even if we're the most brave, industrious, smart, brave individuals, it just takes one god to come along and inject fear into our breasts, or actually inject courage into our breasts. Then the hero goes on and just end up slaying people and stuff like that. And it seems like the human desire is actually towards augmentation. So taking it back to this notion of to the notion that humans are naturally lazy, I'm like, where does this notion come from, and what are the negative consequences of that? I think the notion comes from, okay, so this is my theory. I think the notion that people say, oh, human nature is to be lazy, blah, blah. I think it comes from like kind of this like quasi-religious, Quaker, Protestant work ethic, Benjamin Franklin kind of vibes, where to always be productive and to be gaining more wealth and capital or monies and stuff like that is virtuous, and to be lazy is seen as the ultimate sloth. And it's probably also like this societal thing too, where sociological thinking, right? If you have a society of people, all they do is stay home and play video games and smoke weed and watch Netflix and rub one out to RedTube or YouTube YouPorn every night, certainly it's probably not good for the productivity of society. Society probably wouldn't be that well functioning, because there's, at the end of the day, there needs to be somebody who grows the food, grows the meat, butchers the meat, packages the meat. There needs to be people who, do the cleanliness and hygiene. There's people who need to, scrub toilets and stuff like that. And so, certainly society is not best optimized to live in a situation where everyone just kind of like stays at home and, plays video games all day. But anyways, so like, it is my personal thought that I don't think actually human nature is to be lazy. I think human nature is to play, to wander, to wonder, to be creative, to make new stuff, to write, to sing, to dance, and do all those kind of fun things. And whenever people say, oh, human nature is to be lazy, I'm like, I always kind of get like very suspicious and sus, because typically that line of thinking comes from people who are either, raised like Christian, whether they be Protestant or Catholic, whether they're raised Jewish or whatever. And so people seem that they want a reason to see humans being ultimate lazy in order to validate their own beliefs about human nature. And maybe also it's to flex that, like, if you cast other people as being lazy, then you feel more moral and virtuous and you feel good about yourself. Yo, what's up, man? What you guys building?
What's going on, man?
What you building?
We're trying to put a restaurant there. You want to get it?
Oh, which one? Right here, the empty spot. Oh, are you guys like first doing it nice and then trying to lease it out?
We own the building.
Oh, you guys own the building?
Yeah.
Yo, I'm telling you, man, this is like prime spot, bro. Yo, I like the beer too. So everyone wants to be on a moral high horse. I mean, not everyone, but whenever I say everyone and stuff like that, y'all know that I just like extrapolate my thinking. So the problem is the media is mostly controlled by these like liberal left-leaning nerds who are probably like UCLA, UC Berkeley, or Ivy League educated, and the negative consequence then is we're kind of brainwashed into just thinking of one narrative, because I think human society and nature thrives off of a variety of and diversity and a tolerance of opposing opinions. So it's so funny because, like, where I kind of grew up as a kid, like the whole narrative was, oh, diversity of thought and stuff like that, right? But now you're only allowed to talk like the left-leaning woke talk, and you could only be a liberal. You're not allowed to be a conservative in public or a Republican or whatever. And actually, even for myself, this is actually funny because, like, myself, Eric Kim, like, I grew up in the Bay Area and stuff like that, and even now, like, I still see myself more of like a liberal, left-leaning, definitely like democratic vibes, but I don't know, man, now everything's kind of a shit show. Thich Nhat Hanh says, you see a nice tree, you could hug the tree. Look, there's still new growth. Okay, anyways. So yeah, just be extremely suspicious towards anyone who says, oh yeah, human nature is to be lazy and stuff like that. I'm like, no, like the reason why the kids can't pay attention in school, because y'all classroom is boring. So like what I advocate for is to make classrooms more fun, to make education more fun, more open-minded and stuff like that. And rather than trying to censor kids for saying X, Y, and Z, I actually encourage their thinking. And I think that's where the whole Montessori model is actually pretty good. Maria Montessori, she created the first I think like a playful approach to child learning. So it's rather than figuring out like what we should indoctrinate our kids with, we first thought about, oh, what is human child nature, which is to play, run around and play with their hands and do shit. And then let's create an education system based on that, rather than, teach kids to be bored all the time and, to become good worker bees for society and stuff like that. So anyways, one of my thoughts is, I really think that education is the future, as well as kids and children are the, isn't that Whitney Houston song, right? Like, I believe that children are the future, people need someone to look up to, like whatever, right? So I grew up believing in heroes, believing in that American exceptionalism, and it certainly helped me. It doesn't help everyone, but now the morality and the thoughts is just so morose. Everyone's like doom and gloom, and I'm like, maybe, the best way to change the world is have kids, teach the kids how to be a moral, virtuous person in your own eyes, and make kids that you hope to be the change which you wish to see manifested in the world.